Oh, geez. Went to lane split, couldn't make it. Ooh. So this right here is an open lane pattern. It's very hard to see, but our lane is moving slower, and this is why we wanted a lane split. Our lane is moving slower. That car in the right lane wants to go into the lane that's going a little bit faster. And did they do a head check? We don't know. Did they check the mirrors? We don't know. Is there a blinker? I don't know yet because I haven't even really looked at that part. I was looking at the close call, but they switched over. And this is something we have to watch out for when we're planning our ride, locating hazardous situations and relevant threats, looking for those patterns. Side of the vehicle, open lane pattern. We talk about it all the time. I talk about it in the new book. If you ever want to learn how to ride, it's part of the plan method chapter. And I teach you how to do it in the neighborhood and your first ride on the street. Check it out. If you don't know how to ride, this is the absolute best book you can get. You can skip the MSF. So we're getting into this point. We are going for that lane split position. Wasn't going to happen. That person's cutting it off. We immediately switched into a swerve. So very good with the swerve. We start to swerve. Now we have both hands. You notice how he swerved. I'm going to go back just a little bit. He didn't even have both hands on this for the swerve. He swerved with the right hand. How do you swerve left with the right hand? Practice. So now he's going to go ahead and adjust his swerve even harder. He rolled off the throttle. He has no brake. He's going for the gap. He knows he has to flip it back to a right-handed swerve because if he keeps going left, he's going to run into the car. Now he has to find a new escape path. Escape path, escape path, escape path. Has to find a new one every single time he moves into a new position. Does it really quick. So highly experienced rider. Found the tiny little gap. No impact. Still has to, now he has to find a new escape because now he's in this lane. He's going too fast. He can hit the white car. So he has to swerve even harder. Makes it over here, swerves right so he doesn't run into the guardrail. Extremely lucky. Should he have been speeding? Not really. Should not be doing that.
I was here and this was a car behind me, which that actually is probably more likely.
QT pizzas are good. Watch out for that side of the vehicle right there. Good job on the emergency acceleration. So there's that side of the vehicle. Let's get to that chapter. First ride in the neighborhood. Emergency acceleration. Right there. We're coming in here. If he tries to stop, he might not have enough total stopping distance. So he's making a choice. Do I stop or do I swerve? He probably could have stopped. He wasn't speeding too much. He could have stopped with some good brakes. But he made the choice to swerve. Now, if he just swerves at this speed, he's not going to make it. So he swerves and then accelerates. So those three things that we can do: emergency braking, emergency swerving, emergency acceleration. He chose not to do emergency braking. Okay, whatever. Do something. So he chose the emergency swerve. Okay, great. You chose emergency swerving, but you're not going to make it in time. So he added emergency acceleration with it. So let's go back a little bit because I want to show you. This is the decision making that he's making. And that's the thing, is you have to make a choice. You can't just honk the horn. You can't rev bomb. You can't freeze. You have to do something to protect yourself. So he gets up to here. Not going to stop in time. Swerve and accelerate out. Swerved and accelerated out. What I'm trying to teach you guys with the plan method is you locate that side of the vehicle. Is it a relevant threat? No, not right now because it's staying right there. It looks like a threat. It's a hazardous situation, but it's not going to threaten me because it hasn't come out yet.
Behind me.
Now it started coming out. Now it's an active threat, and we now have to navigate this active threat with a new position for safety. Found a new position for safety. We're back in our lane. Now start locating again new hazards, new threats, and then make sure you keep going into a position for safety for those. Right now, what we're looking at, we're good. We're good. All right, here we go. Oh, no. Swerved. Yes, we have some successful swerves and accelerations and emergency maneuvers in this video. I am so happy to finally see this. We usually only see crashes. So we have a left turner coming out in front of us. Okay, right there. We have to make those choices for those three things. So he's applying the brakes a little bit. You hear that? Not going to be able to make it in time because our total stopping distance is past the vehicle. So we're going to collide with the vehicle if we just only kept doing the braking. So we had to make a split-second choice. Boop. Emergency swerve. So he had to release the brakes so he has traction for the emergency turn. That's what we're trying to do here. So good job with the swerve. We locked up the rear tire. He probably let go of the front brake, but not the rear. That's why you hear that. That's why he's all over the place. Okay, so remember, release both. We get up to here. Park it. Check yourself. Check your bike. You know, check your pants. All right, so we're coming through here. Oh, there it is. Boink. And we crash. So what happened here, everybody? So we're coming up to here. We're able to ride in the bus lane in some countries and whatnot. It is what it is. But we have a long stack of vehicles. So it's very important that we kind of cruise this a little bit slow, just in case we find a gap in these vehicles. There's going to be a gap right here. And you notice how there's the curb drops down so that this is basically an intersection at this point. But we can't see anything because we have a line of sight issue. And since we have a line of sight issue, you kind of creep in until you can see. So we get up to here, and there's the person that creeps out, and we honk the horn. Okay, 3 things we can do: emergency brake, emergency accelerate, emergency swerve. Honking the horn is not one of them. Honking the horn is not going to do anything. We need to apply the brakes as best as we can in a progressive manner. Practice your braking skills. Grab the book so you can learn how to do it. Nice little bonk. All right, here we go. We got a passenger recording everything. Very cool. Where are we going? We're going off-road. We're going off-road. Oh, jeez. Oh, my God. Oh, no. Okay, so when it comes to riding with a passenger, okay, cool. Passenger's like, hey, I'm going to get some camera views. I'm going to do this on the bike. I'm going to do this on the bike. Dude, sit still. You're part of the problem here. Whenever you have a passenger, tell them just to sit still. Turn their head if they want to look. Not, what's going on over here? Because that's going to mess up the turning. And we're entering a turn. And yeah, look at that. Moving all over the place. And he's at least on the inside of the turn here. That's a nice thing. But when they're bouncing around, it messes you up. Stop doing that. Secondly, for the rider itself, you have an extra body on your bike, and that's going to mess up your turning dynamics. So you have to make the turn a little bit harder. It's almost like going from a car. I'm sure there's a lot of youngins here, but if you go from a car that has power steering to a car that doesn't have power steering, you know the difference. You're going to, instead of just like, oh, I'm making a turn with power steering, you have to make the turn without power steering. So that's kind of the difference here when it comes to a motorcycle rider having a passenger. When it's just you, it's like you have power steering. Oh, turns are easy. Yeah. I barely have to put any inputs in here. Yeah. But when you have a passenger, you're like, I got to put inputs. Because now you have that extra weight. It's a big difference. And so this is why I tell people that are brand new riders, don't ride with a passenger at the beginning. Make sure that you are doing really well by yourself before you throw a passenger on there, because then you're going to have to start and learn a new thing. You have to learn something new. One thing that you can do is that if you want to play around, get really good with the Smart Rider motorcycle training drills by yourself, and then try it with a passenger. And you're going to see immediately a huge difference in your turning radius, a huge difference in your slow speed maneuvers, a huge difference in your cornering and turning before you even get out here. You can at least see what it looks like here. All right, here we go. Oh, nice little slow speed. Get through the pylons. Yeah, okay, parking lot. Nice little slow speed. Oh, they're going to back up. Go left. A little bit of a panic. So you want to escape out of there. That's why I don't like getting behind vehicles. Oh my gosh, what are we filming with, a potato here? Okay, nice little turn right here. We're gonna hit something. Yeah, there it is. So it's really foggy out here. So if the camera is fogging up, probably the inside of your visor is fogging up. Get yourself a pin lock insert if your face shield takes one and accepts one. Get a pin lock so you don't see it like this. Lane splitting. Okay, filtering is when traffic is stopped. Splitting is when things are moving.
To make sure that the maneuver can be
do something
safely and catches the biker by surprise.
Okay, we're getting cut off. It's just awkward, weird. Ooh. Oh, just chaos. This is why I like lane splitting and lane filtering in the United States, because at least there's some kind of idea of what people should be doing. And when you get into crazy countries like this, it's just chaos. Good luck. Write in the comments if you're from Brazil, Thailand, Malaysia, wherever, where it's just instant chaos. India. Oh my gosh.